Good day and welcome to Fides Television live on Fides Media. I am Dennis Joy. It's great to have you join us on another enlightening episode of NEWSFLASH. Stay tuned for an informative glance at the top stories making waves in the Fides newspaper this week. We'll be right back shortly. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Now let's dive into the headlines of the week. Congolese customs worker beatified by Vatican. Let's look further into the story. The Vatican last Sunday beatified a Congolese customs worker who was killed for resisting a bribe, giving young people in a place with endemic corruption a new model of holiness, someone who refused to allow spoiled rice to be distributed to poor people. The event attracted a cheering crowd of Congolese pilgrims and much of Rome's Congolese Catholic community who were treated to a special audience on Monday with Pope Leo XIV. Another major story on the front page reads, "Come over to Kamali and help us traumatize Oka residents," begs Soludo. The residents of Kamali layout in Oka, the Anambra state capital, have appealed to the state governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, to build the access road to the layout which borders Ngozika Housing Estate Phase 2, Dubai and Rockland Estates, as well as a section of Opono community to enable them to have an ease of access to their various homes. The residents made the appeal last Wednesday while having a chat with our reporters who visited the road after a viral video on the social media showing some of the residents and hired laborers engaging in grass clearing and other palliative work on the road in a bid to make it passable. Both stories are continued on page 4 of the Fides newspaper. Anambra police foil cult initiation ceremony, arrest 6 suspects, recover gun, ammunition, vehicle in Northia. Anambra police operatives have arrested 6 suspects and recovered 1 Joseph pump action gun, 2 live cartridges, 1 golden color Lexus SUV, 2 cutlasses, 2 scissors, 1 cap with an inscription of Supreme Vikings Confraternity, some charms, hard substance and other incriminating items. Following a tip-off on 15th June, the police operatives at 9:30 a.m. raided the site of an initiation ceremony by a cult group in Northia, Njikoka local government area and recovered the aforesaid items. Also on the same page, Soludo approves 15 million for mass burial of 43 victims in Anambra communal crisis. Anambra State Governor Chukwuma Soludo has approved 15 million naira for Ogwa Nyocha community in Ogbaru local government area of the state and support of the mass burial of the 43 indigents of the community who lost their lives during the internal crisis that rocked the community in November 2021. Meanwhile, police arrest man who buys vandalized EEDC equipment in Onitsha. Let's have a glimpse of the story. Police in Anambra State have arrested a man who is suspected to be a buyer of materials gotten from vandalized EEDC equipment. The 40-year-old man, simply identified as Maduka, was arrested in Onitsha with equipment gotten from a vandalized facility. These stories can be found on page 6 of the Fides newspaper. Anambra teacher jailed 12 years for defiling 11-year-old male students. It is all over for a perverse male teacher in Anambra State who faces 12 years in jail for defiling an 11-year-old male student of GSS1. A sexual and gender-based violence court sitting in Oka, presided over by Justice Peace Oti, passed the verdict on the 34-year-old school teacher. The defendant, Pascal Ofomata, was charged with rape and inflicting physical harm punishable under Section 3, Subsection 1 and Section 4, Subsection 1, respectively, of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law and the offense of sexual abuse punishable under Section 35, Subsection 2 of the Child's Right Law of Anambra State. You can head over to page 4 of the Fides newspaper for more updates of this news. And on page 13, tears of joy. On our column page, Benue killings, a challenge to the rest of us. Over to our editorial segment, Benue massacre, shame of a nation. Let's have a glimpse of our editorial. It was easily the biggest singular attack with the most number of fatalities since the onset of the activities of killer herdsmen in Nigeria against Christians. More than 200 Christians sheltering at an internally displaced persons camp in Yelewata, Benue State, were butchered in their sleep in the dead of the night by those identified Fulani. It occurred on the night of Friday, June 13. According to reports, the militants massacred up to 200 Christians, targeting displaced families, setting fire to their buildings as they lay asleep inside, and macheting any who tried to flee. Page 3 of the Fides Newspaper has details of our editorial. And that's all for this week's episode of NEWSFLASH. Thank you so much for joining us. Please follow us on all our social media handles as displayed on your screen. Remember to get a copy of the Fides Newspaper this week for more in-depth reading. I am Dennis Joe, your anchor on NEWSFLASH. Have a safe evening.